Okay, so we are looking at question 2 of your prelims, all right? How far would the cartoonist who drew source B agree with the cartoonist who drew source C? Okay, and it must be an inference about the BRI. So you see, this paper is a bit tricky. They will ask you, to look out for specific things. Okay, so if you were to compare about, China, if you were to compare about countries being trapped, that is not answering the question. Okay, you must bring in the BRI part. Like for example, BRI traps country, or BRI is a trap to country, or China is trying to control countries through BRI. Okay, so the BRI must be mentioned in your common criteria. Okay, now one of the common mistakes that many of you made is that instead of telling me that it is the cartoonist, okay, who would agree with the cartoonist or who would disagree with the cartoonist, okay, instead of doing this, some of you go and say source B agree with source C, or source B agree with the cartoonist source C. As long as you didn't say cartoonist agree with cartoonist or cartoonist agree with disagree with cartoonist, the red color part, you will immediately drop to L2. Okay, that means that you have not answered my question. Now, this is not my requirement. This is the requirement that examiners for your national exams have talked about. Okay, they complain that students who don't answer don't write cartoonist agree with cartoonist for questions like this are not answering the question. Okay, so that means, if they are very strict that year, you could be getting L1 or even 0 marks. Okay, so make sure you answer back to the question. All right. Now, common mistakes for most of you did L3. That means you talk about the agree or the disagree side. In fact, none of you have picked out the disagree side. Okay. Most of you picked the agree side. All right. Um, the issue is that number one, many of you forgot to give me your common criteria. Okay. Most of you say the cartoonist in B agree with the cartoonist in C. Okay. Or some of you say both cartoonists agree. Full stop. Agree about what? You need to give me the conjunction. Okay. Secondly, many of you forgot your conjunction. Sorry, the first one, you need to give me your common criteria. Okay, and also many of you forgot to give me your conjunction. All right, there were a few answers where the common criteria part went wrong totally. Okay, and when it went wrong, as examiners, we will ignore, we will minus mark, but we will pretend that it's not there. Okay, so if the conjunction is missing, what it looks like is just source B says this, source C says this. There is no comparison made. Okay, so you have to be careful, and this is why, whereas if you have the conjunction, all right, this part will still look like a comparison because of the conjunction. Okay, so you need to make sure you have both your common criteria and conjunction to secure yourself. Okay, matching this time is very well done, but some of you are very careless. Okay, well, source B talks about trapping some Asian countries, whereas source C is talking about the whole world. So some of you said that if you tell me that they are similar in telling me that they are controlling different countries or they're trapping countries like over here, okay, that would have matched. But some of you said, this means that source B, in source B, BRI traps some countries, and source C, BRI traps the whole world. Whole world and some countries are not the same. And if you tell me that's similar, that's some form of misinterpretation actually. Okay, so you need to be very careful and to ensure that exact match. All right. Now, no one did L4. I think it's fine because I think everyone was being strategic with the time, and overall, everyone was quite strategic with the time. But we thought that more of you would have done the L5 level. So there's a typo here. The L5 level, that means you compare the purpose or the tone. Okay, so you can say that both are exaggerating the negative aspect, both are biased against China or biased. Okay, so answer the question. Cartoonists, both cartoonists would agree in their tone, okay, or agree that they should be biased against BRI, okay, or you can go by purpose. Okay, both cartoonists agree that they should convince them to pressure the government and things like that. Okay, your Pamoi lah basically. Okay, so please give it a try, and I think many of you are at the level to give it a try, so try to push for this, especially if it's very obvious. Okay, one more thing. um, many of you, all right, forgot to mention BRI from your evidence. Okay, you like for example, source B, some you just said spider, then here you just say a belt. But if you don't mention BRI in your evidence, it's very hard to interpret what you mean when we look at the comparison to answer the question. Okay, so please be careful about that.